Hi, I'm Chris Esper, filling in for Mike Messier today here on the Short Film Showcase. Today we have a great interview today with New Hampshire actor and also a screenwriter, Mark Resnick. Mark, it's good to see you, buddy.
Chris Esper, how are you?
Good. How are you, my friend?
Where's the great and powerful Mike Messier?
Couldn't make it today,
I'm showing
I
up
guess.
here. It's like showing up to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and there's Joan Rivers sitting at the desk. Is that too soon? Best wishes for the Rivers family.
Yes, indeed. So tell me about yourself. How'd you get started in acting?
Well, I studied acting when I was fairly young, late teens, early 20s, and then I got married and I held a real job for 30 years. And I guess there was that little ember still burning in me, and I answered a call for a student film just about 2 years ago, and really enjoyed the process, and thought the film looked great, and got bitten by the bug again, and just kept moving forward.
That's fantastic. But there's something a little bit more to you that want to tell me about how you what got you back into acting recently?
I assume you're referring to the loss of my son. Well, Zach Resnick, God rest his soul, was a brilliant actor and writer, aspiring filmmaker. He went out to USC to chase his dream and passion, and he hurt his back. He came home. He was living with us for several years. Ultimately passed away. And I really needed something to help me move forward from this tragedy and this loss. And I kind of wanted to carry his torch, and chase his dream. And, in a weird way, it kind of gives you a license to go ahead and do that, because who's going to judge me, after losing a child? Mm-hmm. It's like, you want to judge me? I don't care. But, no, that said, the Hollywood East community really sort of welcomed me in very, very warmly into the fold, and I found lots of work and lots of friends and love and collaborative partners, and it's been helpful to allow me to kind of move on after such a loss.
Well, he'd be very proud of you, I'm sure.
I know he is. He's right with me.
That's right.
Right now.
That's right.
I'm confident.
And tell us about that first film that you did. We met on a short film,
right,
by the great Wes Williams.
Yes.
And the name of the film was
Rosie's Diner.
That's right. And
yes, Brother Wes. So that Rosie's Diner was maybe the first legitimate kind of short film I did. I had done a couple of student efforts, kind of getting my feet wet, and I auditioned for Wes and Ralph, the writer of Rosie's Diner, and they cast me as Vinny, the chef in Rosie's Diner.
Yep.
And that was just a great experience.
That was a great experience.
It was. I mean, Camp Nine Films, I consider them family, and it was a very professional shoot, and I met just some great people.
Right.
And that's what it's about. It's meeting people like
Absolutely.
you and
Yep.
Brian Casey and
Yep.
I wish I can give a shout out and tag pretty much everybody I know in the community, and I
Yeah.
just may do that randomly. I'll just shoot out a name, sort of like like a Tourette's fit, just to give a nod to certain people.
And you're working with Wes again now on another project. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, District C11 is Camp Nine Films' first feature effort.
Excellent.
It takes place in the future, maybe 30, 40 years in the future.
Wow.
And it takes place in Boston. It's based in Boston. It's about a dystopian society that has crumbled. The information technology has collapsed. So now the city is run by a very corrupt mayor.
Wow.
Played by myself.
Wow.
Who is controlled by an evil crime boss, played by my good buddy Richard Bailey.
Nice.
And yeah, it's sort of a battle between good and evil. District C11 is the police precinct, so to speak, in Boston.
Yes.
And so, there's a good cop, bad cop thing going on, and it's sort of sci-fi, just some neat wacky stuff coming out of West this time.
That's amazing. Now, for this kind of role, how do you prepare for a role like that?
That's a pretty good question. When I prepare for a role, I like to try to find sort of that part of me, that is
Right.
truthful to that particular character.
Right.
So in that, this mayor is a coke snorting, whore mongering, abusive, asshole. That that presents challenges. However, when we break it down scene by scene, I kind of try to find the truth to that particular scene and relax and have fun with it.
And where does that come from? Does that come from training or just something purely instinct?
That comes from a lot of training, different methods, different techniques, and I studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I studied, the Stanislavski method, at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute.
Right.
I've studied a little bit, very little of the Meisner technique. And you take a little bit of this and that and what works for you. And for me, what's important, again, is to be truthful and believable.
And there's a Meisner class locally that Richard Bailey teaches, correct?
Yes, New England Actors Workshop. I went through his beginner class.
Yes.
And took a couple of the intermediate classes, but it's really, it was challenging for me.
Yeah.
To be consistent, and you really need consistency,
Yeah.
and it's a very, very long process. If you want to master that technique, it's a good 2-year investment,
Yeah.
and let's face it, it's hard. When we have real jobs and
Yeah.
we need to support families, it's kind of challenging to
Yeah.
to complete. But
Yeah.
no, I recommend that to anybody.
Yeah.
Just simply
We're kind of jumping around a little, but
Go ahead.
but for those who aren't familiar with it, what is the Meisner technique? If you could explain it.
Meisner technique is, I guess these are going to be my words, it's really about, it starts off based in a very, very simple exercise, which is I will say something, I'll make an observation about you, young guy, and then you give it back to me, young guy, and young guy.
Sure.
And it's called the repetition exercise, and
I
it's
see.
and it's going to make no sense to people. However, what it tries to teach you to do is to listen to your partner, and when you're acting, it's about listening and responding and feeling a pinch from your partner and then saying, ouch, instead of coming in and having a planned, so, I'm going to say my line this way, the famous, these pretzels are making me thirsty. No, don't say it that way, say it this way. These pretzels are making me thirsty. So it's not, it's really, you want to get away from that, and you really want to be in the moment.
It's all about action and reaction.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
That's fascinating. Very fascinating.
Is it fascinating, Chris?
I find it very
He
fascinating.
finds it very fascinating.
Yes, I do.
Yes, he does. There's a bit of our repetition for you
There
guys.
you go. And Meisner was in real life, his full name,
Sanford Meisner.
Stanford Meisner. Do you know anything information about him?
About him? Well, he comes out of the I guess it was called the World Theater Group, and he comes out of the same group as Lee Strasberg,
Yeah.
as Stella Adler, and they all studied Stanislavski, and they kind of splintered off, and they all kind of did their own thing.
That's great. So that's your technique. But with all this technique and all the stuff, because you've been very busy these
I have been. I've been
past
blessed.
couple of years. What is the life like? The day life of an actor? You're balancing the family life and you're balancing the acting life. You want to tell us a little bit how you do that?
Well, I mean, pretty much it's just family life and working your jobs and trying to pay the bills and get things done and keeping an eye out for opportunities and roles and projects that you'd like to be involved with and people that you want to collaborate with. So it's, putting yourself out there, auditioning for parts, and you're getting some, you're not getting most of them. And beyond that, for me, I've been doing a lot of writing, and I have a short film that I'd like to get into production kind of soon. Not everybody, but for me, it's something that I'm kind of eager to do. Put my name
Right.
stamp on something from.
Is this writing project under wraps? Can you, or do you want to share with us?
Yeah, let's keep it under wraps for right
Okay,
now.
that's fine. With that said, what motivates you to keep going even in the hard times?
To keep going. Oh man, I mean, I have in me, it seems, a need to create, be it in front of camera, behind the camera, to write. It's. I'm sure you can relate. It's
Yes.
sort of an indescribable need and desire to create something that will move people, inspire people, make people say, "Wow," you know.
I was shared a quote recently by a friend that says something along those lines. There are people that want to make films, and then there are people that have to make films. So
Yeah.
I totally relate to that, indeed. It's something that you feel that you have to do.
Right. It's something that it's like, if that's quelled, then there's steam that kind of needs to get out somehow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been blessed to find outlets and to do that and find people that I want to work with, and that's what it's all about, man.
When you're choosing for a film, like, what do you look for in a script?
What do I look for? I look for somebody to give me a script and say, let's go to work, pretty much. I must say, I have become a lot more selective of late. I hesitate to do really any more student films. I've done my share, and it's a great stomping ground. It's a great place to learn the process, to work your chops, and but that said, now I'm looking more to do some of the indie work and maybe branch out. I've been down to New York for a couple of auditions, and hopefully, we're taking the steps.
Where do you go to find audition notices?
Well, I'm looking on Backstage, locally, New England Film. Got to be careful with Craigslist,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Just a little.
Facebook, has its share of calls, and pretty much that. That's about it. There are no secrets there. IMDb now has a casting section, so I'm on there pretty much every day, looking to see what's new and appropriate for me.
Yeah, that's terrific. It's said that there are no small worlds. Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I'll agree with that one. Sure, Chris, whatever you say. No, for me personally, I don't have a whole lot of interest in doing like background extra work.
I see. Yep.
A lot of people in the community flock to Ted 2 or the Woody Allen film,
Right.
and some of the other sort of mainstream productions that have come through Boston. I can't really see it being beneficial for me to sit on a set for 8, 10, 12 hours and, to be a background guy. That said, a small speaking cameo role, little character part, I love doing that, sink my teeth into it and create something that'll make somebody smile.
Yeah. So you like to do other genres aside from, let's say, something like District C11 or Rosie's Diner. Do you like to delve into comedy too, I assume?
You know what? I love comedy.
Do you?
And I think that's my strong point, specifically like improv work.
Yeah.
I did one film last year by the name of Whiskey Cavendish by a young gentleman by the name of Evan Moore.
Yes.
And his, do you know Evan?
No, well, I know of him.
Okay.
Yes.
And his Ivansky Film Company. He since moved out to L.A. and he's leaked a couple of clips to me of this piece, and I just had a blast doing it, and it was a whole lot of fun. That said, I seem to be cast often as a creepy sort of sleazy kind of guy. We wrapped up a production film called Spin the Plate. Late spring, early summer. Very, very serious piece, an important piece about child abuse and sexual abuse, and it's about a young woman who is coming to terms with the fact that she was sexually abused as a young, 8, 9, 10-year-old girl by her father, and I played that father, and that was the most challenging role that I've had to date.
Yes.
I can't say I had a whole lot of fun with it. It was very intense. But a great experience, and I think the finished product is going to be,
It,
is going
it
to be
looks,
cool.
yeah, it looks that way. Tell us about the people who are involved with that. There's a whole slew of New England
Yeah,
talent
yeah.
involved
Well,
with that
Becky
production.
Buckman plays the lead,
Yes.
plays the adult daughter. It was directed by Mr. Eric Eastman,
Yes.
it was his first directorial effort, and he did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was a big cast, a lot of moving parts, produced by Tom Anastasi, and the film was written based on the novel by his wife, Donna Anastasi. It's an award-winning novel,
That's
again,
fantastic.
called Spin the Plate. And there were a lot of local people. Carlin Fournier was
Yes.
in there. Jose Gonzalez
Yes.
was in there. Dan Merriman, very good young actor, I believe, out of New Hampshire. And a whole bunch of other. Raja Samaru
Yes.
did the cinematography on that.
Yep.
And I always love working with him because he's got
Yes.
such a great eye
He does.
for storytelling, and he always brings something I think unique
Yes.
to the package.
And that wasn't your first time working with him either.
With Raja?
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't.
Killing Khan?
You know what? That's true. I had J.R. Hepburn asked me if I would shoot a little cameo in Killing Khan, and I literally walked on the set for about 20 minutes, and then I walked off, and I was done.
I assumed it was a much longer.
No.
But he's also shooting District C11 for.
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and that team of Raja and Wes will guarantee this vision, coming to fruition. It's going to be something pretty special.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What else have you got lined up for the future?
For the future, well, I help produce and write, and I'm behind the camera for this TV show that we shoot out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Portsmouth Public Access Television. It's a show called Indie Rising.
Nice.
And that we've done two shoots. That means 3 or 4 episodes, and we shoot the next couple of segments in a couple of weeks. That's been a whole lot of fun. We're getting guests, sort of like this, but the guests have an opportunity to perform and demonstrate. And I do a segment at the end of each show, sort of like a, Andy Rooney like moment, where I do a little rant.
Yes.
That's been fun, and the whole TV thing. The extent of my exposure has been really this show and Charlie Flannery's show, and this Indie Rising. It's a cool, just another outlet, to meet people and learn stuff.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and.
No, Chris, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure,
Always
my
a
friend.
pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Kid. All right.
Best of luck to you.
Best of luck to you.
That was Mark Resnick here on Short Film Showcase. Up next, we have 2 films by Izzy Lee called Picket and Legitimate. Let's check them out.
You need to pray through is what you need to do. You need to pray through. You need to find your Holy Ghost-filled church and go to the altar and just be up there and be quiet. Get in the presence of God. In his presence there is power.
Yeah, it was a long one, but tomorrow's a whole new day saving souls. I just wish people would realize that they can go to hell. Yeah. Oh, where is it? No, I'll be there bright and early, you know me. Thank you so much for getting the package to the sender. It's just so important that we get our message across. Yeah, thank you. See you tomorrow.
Hillbilly hypocrite at that. I commit suicide if I was in air tree or an air branch on that tree, a lollygaggers you rode up with.
Hello? Hello?
Welcome back, Senator.
You just watched two great short films by A.Z. Lee called Picket and Legitimate. Up next, we have another film. It's a 3-minute short film called Always a Reason. It was directed by Don Tempesta and myself. And let's check it out.
To those of you who love me, and for those of you I love, all I can say is, I'm so sorry. Life without my Marie has been unbearable, leaving no reason to go on. Please understand. Hello?
Hi, Papa. Today's the big day. I've been dying to go to the ball game.
Did you really get box seats?
Well, of course I did, Timmy.
Papa, you sound like you've been crying.
No, just allergies.
Hey, can we get a hot dog too?
What's a ball game without a hot dog? I'll tell you what. We could even get an ice cream after the game. How's that sound?
Great, Papa. I can't wait.
Neither can I, Timmy. Neither can I.
That was Always a Reason, directed by Don Tempesta and myself. And now we have a very special guest who actually worked on that film as our sound man, and he's also an actor, director, a very talented individual. Here we have David Kopchak. Welcome.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Good to see you again. So we'll start with the basics. Tell us how you got into filmmaking in general, because you do a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well.
The filmmaking side of things, or just in general? I started as an actor back in 05, 06. I used to be a dancer doing line dancing and injured myself, so I started acting. My sister dragged me off to a couple auditions. I got both roles and just kind of snowballed from there and just kept going to auditions, doing what I can do, and then finding some crazy movies around New England.
And then you eventually got into directing?
Yeah, I got into the production side of things. I started doing sound on films because I kept doing these films and the sound was mediocre. You know, you had a great script, you had great actors, you know, great camera work. You know, the lighting was iffy, but the sound was just ruined the film.
Right.
So I used to do some work at concerts and stuff, live mixing for bands. Decided that I'd purchase some sound equipment and started doing sound on my own. After that, I just started writing and started exploring storytelling as an art form, and as film becomes, you know, it's basically it's old-fashioned storytelling. You're standing up in front of people and saying, here's the story of our lives. Mm-hmm. And I just fell in love with it, you know?
Is there a particular genre that you gravitate towards as an actor, or
as an actor, no. Actually, in general, no. I love I have a horror story that I got in the works. I sent you over a script for a really dramatic piece. I kind of touch on everything. I just like to. My thing is no matter what you're telling human stories. You're telling stories that people are going to watch, they're going to connect to. If it's a horror film, that's kind of secondary to actually what the story is. And it's just, it's not a philosophy a lot of people go by, but it's just something that when I was training as an actor, I was always, there's something more. All the scripts, I wanted there to be something more. So the horror film is very thought-provoking. The action film, has all of this
eye candy.
It's eye candy, but that's what attracts the viewers. That's what entertains the viewers. But underneath, it's this deeper philosophical story.
Right.
It's just the type of stuff that I've been trying to write, but I don't think it's any one genre.
Right. And you mentioned training as an actor. Where have you trained?
I was at Carter Thor Studios, which is now called Stray On. I mean, not Stray On. Yeah, it was Stray On Studios. They changed the names after I had left. I moved to California. I went to about a half dozen studios out in LA and came back here. I was teaching at Aspire for a while, but they kind of closed down when Albert moved to New York. But I did Meisner training, Chekhov training at the Michael Chekhov School in Boston. And basically, if I see a class and I think that it has something to offer that I don't already understand, I give it a shot. I try it. I thought the philosophy of acting, there was this guy who came over, I can't remember his name, came over from England, but he had this whole psychology of acting thing, and I thought the class was really fun and enlightening, gave me a new way of thinking about things, and that's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's building.
You kind of approach it from a personal level where you take something from yourself and put it into a role. Is that what you're trying to communicate? Yes.
People, when they talk about acting, they talk like method acting.
Sure.
And they put a name on it. It's method acting, or it's this, or it's that, or it's this. And basically, method acting is just becoming the character. Everybody has their own method. It has to be personal to you. If Chris Esper wants to be an actor and play a role, he's got to come in, whatever connects with you as a person, that's how you got to connect to your character.
Right.
So you can't really take what I do or what anybody else locally does or on the national scale. Brad Pitt does this. Might not work for you.
It's not the same, yes.
So it's really sitting down and figuring out how you connect to the character, how you can become this person.
Mm-hmm. And you taught acting for some time here in New England, correct?
Yeah, I did. I was working on a couple films, and directors had asked me to start coaching, because they were more technical based. They were thought of the shots, they knew their lighting, they knew their stuff, but they were having problems connecting to the actors. And I was in the films, and the actors came to me for help, and then the directors ended up having me be the set coach. I got credited as a set coach. And I did that for a couple different films. And then from there, I started trying to get groups together of local actors, just get everybody to work together and grow, and so everybody can speak the same language. And I came back from LA. Albert at Aspire had asked me if I'd come in and help coach there for a while. Had a blast working there. Unfortunately, for me, it's a drive coming up from Rhode Island up to there all the time. And for him, he moved to New York now, so it's kind of stagnated.
And you mentioned being in Los Angeles. What's life like for an actor in Los Angeles?
I guess it depends. It depends on who you are, because sometimes if some people are going out there and they have friends out there that they know, they're making some great stuff. I went out there. I did a little bit of work at the studios. I did a little bit of stuff here and there, but I actually had some medical problems that hit me pretty early after I got there, and was out there for about a little over a year, and then had to come back for surgery. And for me, it was a lot of people the people that I was forced to work with out there, not forced, people that I did have the opportunity to work with out there, their aspirations was not to make something artistic, not to make something that's good. They just wanted to make money, and they
Sure.
wanted to be famous, and they wanted to move on to the next film.
Sure.
So it was really hard for me. But
So that kind of answers my next question. There's always that big question of New England or New York or LA. How do you differentiate?
well, I like LA because I like the weather.
Sure.
Except for 120-degree afternoons inside my apartment. But as far as film right now, I think New England's the best place for me as far as trying to develop my craft of storytelling, my writing, basically trying to do everything that I'm trying to do. It's really great to work. And I don't really think you have to be in a specific place anymore to get noticed. People pop up in New Orleans, Atlanta, Michigan. There's film places all over the country now. I don't think you can say one city or the other. I think New York or LA, if you want to make it in the studios, if you want to work your way up that production ladder and work in film full time, go to LA. You can, if you got a good skill set in the production side, you can get work. You can do it. You can survive. And I have a lot of friends who did that. My thing is I wanted to be creative.
Sure.
It's more of an artistic endeavor for me than it is a job, even though I
Sure.
do like to get paid for it as well.
Of course. Yes.
But you don't get that opportunity out there, and I think that was the problem for me. I didn't know the people who were making the artistic stuff. I wasn't in college out there, and it was just a little different for me.
Right. And now I want to kind of jump to behind the camera, the stuff that you do. You talked about your writing. Again, you gained that from personal experience, your writing?
Yeah, I think my belief when it comes to filmmaking is that we're doing the jobs. This is something that Jacques MacDonald at Strahan had drilled into us as a teacher, and I loved it, is we're doing the job of the ancient shamans. We're coming out and we're telling a story that people can relate to. They can see their lives or the world around them reflected on a screen, and they can connect to it. And that's basically, I take in things that I connect to, and I say, is there a good story that I can see there that I can share with people? And that's what I try to do when I write, is I find the good stories in people's lives, the big events that people have trouble dealing with, and try to put it in there and help them through it.
And have you directed your own scripts?
Yes, I did. I directed 2 very short things. One of them was just a few friends, and that went off without a hitch. I directed, though, the very first thing I co-directed, was a thing called The Reception. Mm-hmm. And we had the bad idea of putting it on a rooftop in South Boston in the middle of December, which it was 80 degrees out on Friday night, so we said it would be a good idea. Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday night, it goes below freezing, and our lead actress ends up with frostbite.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was. If you know John Mostich, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
yes.
John was the actor, and it was the first time I actually got to work with John. And I made him take what I told him would be 2 hours, no problem. I made him sit on that rooftop for like 6-7 hours. Next day, I bring him back. I'm like, okay, we're going to do this in like 2 hours this time. We put it inside. We changed everything. Just couldn't get things right. It took another like 6 hours for us to get
goodness.
it. So, yeah, ever since then, I've been pretty much a slave. Anything John does, I'm like, yep, I'm there.
Yeah, tell us more about John, the kinds of films that he makes, what you've done for him.
John's one of those people. He likes exciting stuff. He likes he likes the action stuff. I connect more to the characters. He connects more to the action, I think.
Sure.
I mean, he's great at character development and all that stuff, but he focuses like what the audience is what's gonna excite the audience. He is an amazing person to work with, though. I've never seen one person that can lead so many people. He knows what he wants, but he can listen to everybody else and say, that works, that doesn't work, and just process it and take it all in, and bam, it's there. oh God, I don't know. I love work. I tease him. I tell him, you know, that I'm his slave. But I love working with the guy, and I don't know anybody that doesn't.
Right. And he just made a film recently, a Permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Permanent is a feature-length film. It is starring. I'm one of the actors. It's an ensemble piece, so there's really no lead.
Mm-hmm.
But it's me, Jim Powers, Marie Blase, Erica Derrickson. You have David Dallas, really experienced actor from out in Mississippi. And then on the other spectrum, you have Ben Jones, who's I think this was his first film.
Wow.
And a bunch of other local talent. Great film. Anna Rizzo. But it's one of those dark, seedy, mob-type movies. We actually filmed, did you see the short version of
Yes,
Forest
I did.
Green?
Yes.
Yeah, we filmed that like 2 years ago. And everybody, we had such a great response to it that John extrapolated it out into a feature-length film.
Mm-hmm.
And managed to get everybody back, every crew member and cast member that worked on the short.
Yes.
They all came back for the feature.
And a lot of talent behind the camera, too. You got Ken Willinger
Yeah.
as the cinematographer. Who,
Ken Willinger is amazing. Anybody
Yes.
gets a chance to work with him, he made me look good. So, yeah. You had Ken, you had Danny Roth operating the camera, you had Jill Poisson operating the camera. She's
Sure.
fantastic, and she's doing the editing on
Yes.
the film as well. I can't wait to see that.
Yep.
You had I did some of the sound. Ben Jones did some of the sound.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amalgamation of people because I was
Yes.
acting, Ben was acting. You had Margie Wolf, Angela Schulman.
Yep.
They did the set decoration. I'm going to forget people. Chris Brown did all the lighting.
Yep. James DeMello, I believe.
Yeah, James. Oh my God, James is. I got Always a Reason. When I was doing sound on Always a Reason, I kind of met James. He did One Day on Permanent, and we had a lot of fun out on the playground with like 23 kids, and then I went and worked with Always a Reason on Always a Reason. Did sound on that, and he was just such a hard worker. I really loved working with him.
Especially the way we shot that too, because we had little to no preparation.
No prep.
And this was just a passion project just for a competition, and everyone just came, did it, and it was. I always remember that fly though. That
oh God, yeah.
One of the difficulties of being a sound guy, you never know what you're gonna catch.
I'm like, it sounded good, except all I heard was a buzzing of a damn fly. That was, and he landed on the boom pole like 3 times. He was just flying around and lands right on my microphone.
Now tell us about that end of it, because sound is something that's really overlooked in film productions, independent productions. I know from firsthand experience. And tell us about the importance of it. Like, what do you look for when you're doing it?
What do you look for when you're doing it? You look for clear sound.
Of course.
You want to. You can hear. Okay, if you're dealing with an actor, you can hear. You want to hear clear sound. You want to hear no cars going by on the actor's lines. You want to hear no planes in the air. You want to hear no crickets. You want to be able to have good no flies. No flies, God dang it. You want to be able to have great little audio snippets that you can pull. You can take something clean out and put it wherever you need, even if the actor's back's to the camera. You can pop it in there or whatever. Sure. But on top of that, you can actually hear the acting. You can close your eyes and hear if the actor is really connecting to their lines. If they're just saying lines, if they're really connecting, and they're mumbling, they're not mumbling, different things that you can hear from, and you never say to the actor, you're not connected to your lines or anything, but you might say to the director, that didn't really sound good.
Yeah.
I couldn't really hear him there. I might want to redo that.
Sure.
And it's a little artistic, and it's a little, but it's better to have too much stuff than not enough, in my opinion, as far as sound goes, because unless you're doing ADR. If you're going to do ADR...
That's something you really want a set to do, though.
Have fun. Have fun. I think I've done ADR in 2 films, and neither one of them ever got released.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, not a fan.
No, I don't blame you. It's a very difficult process. And how'd you get into and you got into doing the sound part because, again, you were working on a number of films that you saw the sound was.
Yeah, I was going on to sets, and I've been like, okay, you're recording with what? You know, they just put a little old band microphone sitting on a stand in the middle of the floor, and I'd be like, really? Okay. And I'd do the film, and I was a new actor, so I didn't know too much, but I knew from my sound experience working in bands and stuff that microphone wasn't really going to cut it. And I'd go see the premiere of the film, and I'd just be like, I can't hear anything.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I just went out and bought my own equipment, and anytime I go on set and I say, okay, that's
not going to cut it.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get a better idea and I'd bring my stuff in. And
good.
That's pretty much how I got started doing sound.
So what do you hope to do? You hope to continue for the future? What do you hope to continue to do?
Well, I love acting. I got Permanent coming up, being released in December. The premiere is December 6th or 7th. And then on top of that, I have another film being released soon called Dust, which we filmed. A great group of kids. I've been doing a lot of ensemble stuff lately, but a great group of kids up at Tufts. They were students from the theater department. They played my. I was running a mental hospital class, psychiatry group. Fabulous film. But I'm filming Fairfield Follies starting this month. And I got another film that I've signed on to do, but we haven't figured out dates yet and all that stuff, so I don't want to talk too much. But on top of that, I'm hoping to direct my first full-length short next year sometime. I got a 30-minute short that I had sent over to you. Yep. And then from there, I got 2 other feature-length films that I want to do right after that. So
that's fantastic. Good for you. Best of luck to you, and thank you for being on our show here.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure,
Chris.
Always a pleasure.
It's good seeing you again, man.
Yes, you too. That was David Kopchak here on Short Film Showcase, and thank you for joining us. If you have a film you'd like to submit your films to our producer, Brian Casey, at briancaseyfilms.com. And if you're looking to make a film, gather your friends together, come up with a script, and grab a camera, because if you could dream it, shoot it.